The night in Springfield was colder and stormier than usual, a restless energy hanging in the air that unsettled even the hardiest townsfolk. Thunder growled low in the distance, while jagged bolts of lightning tore through the sky, casting fleeting, ghostly light over the streets. Homer Simpson, however, remained oblivious to the brewing chaos as he staggered out of Moe's tavern, his stomach sloshing with beer and his thoughts pleasantly muddled. "See ya, fellas!" he shouted back to Barney and Lenny, who barely glanced up from their drinks, offering only grunts in reply. The tavern door swung shut behind him, and Homer stepped into the night, the wind immediately tugging at his jacket. Leaves skittered across the pavement as he grumbled, "Stupid storm, can't even walk home in peace." His route to Evergreen Terrace wound past the Springfield forest, a dark, tangled stretch of trees that most avoided after sundown. But Homer, dulled by drink, paid little mind to the ominous shadows or the way the lightning made the branches twist like bony fingers, reaching for the sky. Then cutting through the storm's din came a sound, a low, mournful wail rising from the forest's depths. Homer froze, his heart thudding. "Huh? What was that?" he mumbled, peering into the blackness. The sound repeated, sharper now, and he caught words within it. "Help me, please." The voice was faint, warped by the wind, but unmistakably human. Homer blinked, his sluggish brain wrestling with the moment. "Someone's in trouble out there," he said to himself. Against his better instincts, curiosity, and perhaps the beer, pushed him forward. He shuffled closer to the tree line, the voice growing louder, more urgent. "Help! I'm lost," it begged, but now it was joined by something else. A grating, mechanical screech that clawed at his nerves, like a broken siren twisted into something unnatural. He hesitated, fear prickling his skin. "Maybe I should just head home," he muttered, taking a step back. But then the voice called again, and this time it hit him like a punch. "Homer, help me." It was Marge's voice, or something close to it. His stomach dropped. "Marge!" he gasped, panic overriding reason. He plunged into the forest without a second thought. The trees swallowed him whole, their gnarled branches snagging his clothes and scratching his face. The storm roared. Louder here, the wind shrieking through the leaves. Homer stumbled over roots, his breath ragged as he yelled, "Marge, where are you?" The forest seemed to devour his words. Through a gap in the trees he saw it, a towering skeletal figure, its body stretched thin and wrapped in grey, taut skin. Where a head should have been, two rusted sirens jutted from its shoulders, their open mouths frozen in a grotesque scream. Homer's legs locked, his eyes wide with horror. The creature turned, its sirens swiveling toward him. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then they erupted, blasting a deafening mix of shrieks, static, and garbled voices. Amid the noise, Marge's voice rang out again. "Homer, help me! I'm scared!" But it was wrong, dripping with a sinister edge that wasn't her. The creature mimicked her, its sirens twisting her pleas into a trap. Homer's survival instinct surged. He spun to flee, but his foot snagged a root, sending him crashing to the ground. The thing stepped closer, its long, spindly legs closing the gap effortlessly. Scrambling up, Homer bolted, branches lashing at him as he ran. The ground felt unsteady, but he didn't stop, bursting out of the forest and onto the road. He didn't look back, just sprinted home, his pulse pounding in his ears. He burst through his front door, slamming it shut and collapsing against it, gasping for air. The house was still, save for the faint tick of the living room clock. Footsteps sounded, and Marge appeared at the stairs, curlers in her hair and worry creasing her face. "Homer, what's wrong? You look awful." "Marge," he wheezed. There was a monster in the forest. "Sirens for ahead, calling your name." Marge frowned, skeptical. "Sirens for ahead? Homer, you've been drinking, haven't you?" "Yeah, but it was real," he protested. "It was copying your voice, trying to trick me." She sighed, exasperated. It's late and you're drunk. It was probably just the wind. Come to bed. But no buts, she cut him off. You'll wake the kids with this nonsense. She turned and climbed the stairs. Homer lingered, feeling foolish yet shaken. Maybe it was the storm messing with his head, but deep down he couldn't shake the image of that creature or the chilling echo of those sirens. He trudged upstairs after Marge, but sleep eluded him. Every creak, every distant thunderclap kept him on edge, the forest's call lingering in the dark. The morning after the storm, Springfield awoke to an eerie stillness. Rain-soaked streets shimmered under a grey sky, but the usual hum of life was absent, replaced by a heavy, unspoken tension. At the Simpson home, Homer sat at the kitchen table, his hands wrapped around a lukewarm coffee mug. His eyes were bloodshot, haunted by the memory of the creature he'd seen in the forest, a towering figure with sirens for a head, its wail echoing his name. He'd barely slept. Marge bustled around the kitchen trying to keep things normal. "Homer, you've got to stop with this monster nonsense," she said, her tone equal parts worry and exasperation. "You were out in that storm, probably. Half drunk. It was a trick of the light." "It wasn't, Marge," Homer insisted, his voice low and shaky. "I saw it." Before Marge could argue further, Lisa burst in, clutching the morning newspaper. "Mom, Dad, you need to see this." She slapped the paper down, its bold headline glaring up at them. "Mysterious disappearances baffle Springfield police." The article reported that several townsfolk had vanished overnight, gone without a trace, no signs of struggle, no clues. The police were stumped, and whispers of panic were spreading. Homer's face paled. "It's the monster. It's taking people." Marge sighed. "Homer, please, this is serious." But Lisa's brow furrowed, her mind already working. "Wait, Dad, what did it look like again?" As Homer recounted his story, Lisa grabbed her laptop and began searching. "There's something online about a creature called Siren Head," she said. "It mimics voices to lure people. It fits what Dad saw." "Legends don't kidnap people," Marge countered, though her voice wavered. "Maybe not," Lisa said, "but I'm going to find out what's going on." Meanwhile, Bart lounged on the couch, overhearing everything. "A monster? Awesome," he smirked, grabbing his slingshot. "I'm gonna check it out." "Bart." "No!" Marge called, but he was already out the door, shrugging off her warnings with a wave. "I'll be fine, Mom. Probably just a prank." Hours passed, and the day grew heavy with unease. Bart didn't return for lunch. Marge paced, calling his friends, Milhouse, Nelson. No one had seen him. By dusk, her worry turned to dread. "Homer, we need to find him." Flashlights in hand, Homer and Marge ventured into the forest. The trees loomed like silent watchers, their branches creaking in the wind. "Bart!" they shouted, their voices swallowed by the darkness. No reply came, only a faint, eerie sound like a distant siren. Homer froze. That's it. That's the noise it made. Then a voice cut through the night. "Mom! Dad! Help!" It was Bart's voice, but warped, mechanical. Marge clutched Homer's arm. "Is that him?" "It's a trick," Homer whispered, heart pounding. "The monster's doing it." They pushed deeper, the siren growing louder, until they stumbled into a clearing. There it stood, the creature from Homer's nightmare, its skeletal frame swaying, sirens blaring, a distorted chorus of voices. "Help me!" It mimicked, Bart's tone twisted into something inhuman. Marge stifled a sob. "We have to get out of here!" They turned to flee, but a sharp crack of twigs stopped them. Lisa emerged, holding a jury-rigged device. "Drat you guys! This might jam its signal." She flipped a switch, and a piercing whine erupted. The creature recoiled, its sirens faltering. "Run!" Homer yelled. They bolted, dragging Lisa with them, not stopping until they reached home. Gasping, they locked the door, but the relief was fleeting. Bart was still out there. As they caught their breath, a faint cry drifted from the forest. Bart's voice, or the creature's lure. Fear and resolve hardened in Marge's eyes. "We're going back for him," Homer nodded. "No monsters taking my boy." They didn't know what awaited them, but one thing was certain. The nightmare was just beginning. The Simpson household buzzed with urgency. Marge, her face etched with worry, coordinated a search party over the phone, her voice quivering. "Meet us at the forest edge in an hour," she pleaded. Homer, uncharacteristically serious, packed flashlights and rope, his hands trembling. Lisa sat at her laptop, digging into Siren Head's lore. She stumbled upon an obscure, cryptid forum where a post described the creature. A towering skeletal figure with sirens for a head, mimicking voices to ensnare victims. It thrived on fear, but sound frequencies might be its weakness. She pocketed the printout, determined to weaponize this knowledge. An hour later, Springfield rallied at the forest's edge. Ned Flanders arrived with his boys. Chief Wiggum brought his officers, and even Moe, Lenny, and Carl joined, their faces grim. Homer rallied them. "Stick together. If you hear anything odd, don't wander off." The group nodded, fear hanging heavy as they entered the darkening woods. The forest was alive with eerie sounds, twigs snapping, leaves rustling. Then, Bart's voice cut through. "Help me!" It was distorted, mechanical. Marge lunged forward, but Homer held her back. "It might be a trick," he warned. Lisa activated a makeshift sound device, emitting a piercing whine. The voice warped into a growl, and Siren Head emerged, tall, skeletal, its sirens blaring a mix of static and stolen voices. Panic erupted. Chief Wiggum's gun shook uselessly in his hands. Ned prayed, and Homer shielded his family with a flashlight. The creature lunged, snatching Lenny in an instant. His scream faded as Siren Head vanished into the shadows. The group fled, stumbling back to the road, breathless and shaken. Lenny was gone. At home, despair settled in. Marge wept for Bart and Lenny, while Homer sat defeated. Lisa, resolute, pored over her notes. "Sound is its weakness," she muttered. The doorbell rang. Professor Frink, wild-eyed, held a sonic disruptor. "This could neutralize it," he exclaimed. Lisa seized the chance to plan their next move. Meanwhile, at Burns' mansion, the tycoon schemed. "This creature could be profitable," he mused to a nervous Smithers, plotting to capture it. Back at the Simpsons, Lisa and Frink devised a rescue mission, armed with the disruptor. As night deepened, they returned to the forest with a small, brave crew. But new horrors emerged. Twisted figures flanking Siren Head. Surrounded, the disruptor hummed to life, its wail clashing with the creatures. Springfield's fate teetered, and the Simpsons stood at the brink. The forest was darker than before, the air thick with dread, as the Simpsons, armed with Frink's sonic disruptor, led a small, trembling crew back into the woods. Lisa clutched the device, her knuckles white. Homer and Marge walked beside her, their faces grim. Ned, Moe, and a few others followed, casting nervous glances at every shadow. They moved in silence, the only sounds their footsteps and the distant, unsettling hum of the forest. Then Bart's voice pierced the quiet. "Mom, Dad, help me." It was faint, warped, but unmistakably his. Marge's heart clenched. "We have to find him," she whispered, her voice breaking. Homer squeezed her hand. "We will, Marge, we will." But doubt gnawed at him. The creature's mimicry was too perfect, too cruel. Suddenly the ground trembled. Trees groaned, their branches twisting unnaturally. From the darkness, Siren Head emerged, its towering form silhouetted against the moon. Its sirens blared, a cacophony of voices, screams, and static. But this, in time, it wasn't alone. Flanking it were grotesque figures, twisted, malformed versions of the missing townsfolk. Their eyes were hollow, their limbs elongated, their mouths stretched into silent screams. Lenny was among them, his face contorted, in agony. "Oh my God," Ned gasped, crossing himself. "What has it done to them?" Lisa's hands shook as she aimed the disruptor. It's turning them into monsters. She flipped the switch, and a high-pitched whine filled the air. Siren Head recoiled, its siren sputtering. The twisted figures hesitated, their movements jerky and confused. "Now!" Homer shouted. "Run!" The group bolted, but the forest seemed to conspire against them. Roots snaked across their path. Branches clawed at their clothes. One of the twisted figures lunged at Mo, its fingers like talons. Mo screamed, but Ned tackled it, sending them both tumbling. "Keep going," Ned yelled, wrestling with the creature. "I'll hold it off." Homer grabbed Marge and Lisa, pushing them forward. They stumbled into a clearing, gasping for breath, but relief was short-lived. Siren Head loomed before them, its sirens now silent, its body trembling with rage. Lisa raised the disruptor again, but it sparked and died. "No, no, no!" she cried, frantically trying to fix it. The creature advanced, its shadow swallowing them. Homer stepped in front, shielding his family. "Stay away from my wife and kids," he bellowed, though his voice wavered. Just then, a blinding light cut through the darkness. A helicopter roared overhead, its spotlight pinning Siren Head. Mr. Burns's voice crackled through a megaphone. "Capture that beast, it's mine!" A net dropped from the chopper, ensnaring the creature. Siren Head thrashed, its sirens blaring in fury, but the net held. Burns' men descended, tranquilizer guns at the ready. Homer blinked in disbelief. "Burns! What the hell?" Burns, smug as ever, stepped from the chopper. "Ah, Simpson, I see you've met my new acquisition. This creature will make a fine addition to my collection." Marge's eyes blazed. "You're insane, it's dangerous." Burns chuckled. "Danger is just another word for profit, my dear." He turned to his men. "Load it up." But as they moved to secure the net, Siren Head let out a deafening screech. The twisted figures surged forward, attacking Burns' men. Chaos erupted, gunfire, screams, and the wail of sirens. In the confusion, Homer spotted Bart, huddled behind a tree, his eyes wide with terror. "Bart!" Homer shouted, rushing to him. Bart clung to his father, trembling. "Dad?" It was awful, the voices, the pain. Homer hugged him tight. "It's okay, son. We're getting out of here." With Burns' men distracted, the Simpsons slipped away, carrying Bart to safety. But as they reached the forest's edge, a chilling sound echoed behind them. Siren Head's sirens, now free, blaring triumphantly. Back at home, the family huddled together, shaken but relieved. Bart was safe, but the nightmare wasn't over. The creature was still out there, and Burns' meddling had only made things worse. Lisa stared out the window, her mind racing. "We need a better plan," she murmured. "Something to stop it for good." Homer nodded, his jaw set. "We'll figure it out, sweetie. Together." But in the distance, the sirens wailed on, a haunting reminder that the terror was far from over. The Simpsons' living room buzzed with energy as Lisa and Professor Frink worked tirelessly over a table strewn with wires, circuits, and gadget parts. They were assembling Frink's latest creation, a powerful sonic disruptor, hoping it could be their key to defeating Siren Head once and for all. "We need to amplify the frequency," Lisa said, focused as she soldered a wire. "If we find the perfect pitch, it could shut Siren Head down for good." Frink, adjusting his slipping glasses, agreed. "Precisely. Too low and it's useless. Too high and, well, let's just say it'll be bad news." Homer paced anxiously nearby. "Why not just blow it up? I've still got dynamite from that fishing trip gone wrong." Marge glared at him. "Homer, we're not exploding the forest. Remember how that turned out last time?" Bart, trying to shake off his fear, suggested, "What if we trick it into a trap? Like use a super loud noise to lure it in?" Lisa's face brightened. "That's genius, Bart. We'll use sound to attract it, then blast it with the disruptor." Frink clapped excitedly. "Yes, we'll need a decoy. Speakers that mimic its creepy sirens." The family sprang into action. They set up a network of speakers in a forest clearing where Siren Head had last appeared. Homer and Bart positioned the devices, while Marge and Lisa fine-tuned the disruptor. As darkness fell, the trap was set. Lisa stood ready at the controls. "Everyone get back. It's time." Homer lingered, worried. "Stay safe, Lisa." She gave a determined nod. "I will, Dad." The family watched from a distance as Lisa activated the system. The speakers erupted with eerie sirens and garbled voices echoing through the trees. The forest went still. Suddenly, the ground shook. Siren Head loomed into view, its towering silhouette drawn to the noise, its own sirens wailing back. "Now, Lisa!" Homer yelled. Lisa pressed the button. The disruptor whirred and unleashed a sharp, deafening tone. Siren Head stumbled, its sirens faltering, but then it roared, twisting as if fighting back. "It's adapting!" Frink cried in alarm, watching the creature adjust its own frequency to counter the attack. The air pulsed with the warring sounds. "We can't let it win!" Marge shouted. Homer, in a flash of inspiration, grabbed a megaphone. "Hey, you big freak! Look at me!" He blared the device, distracting the monster. Seizing the chance, Lisa pushed the disruptor to its limit. Sparks flew, and with a blinding explosion of sound and light, the device gave out. When the chaos cleared, Siren Head lay silent, its broken sirens stilled. The forest was peaceful again. The Simpsons ran to Lisa, who was shaken but safe. "You did it, honey," Marge said, pulling her into a hug. Lisa smiled faintly. "We all did." As they stood together, victorious, a soft hum lingered in the air, a quiet echo of the terror they'd overcome, now finally at rest. The Simpsons returned home exhausted but triumphant, the silence of the night a stark contrast to the chaos they'd endured. The forest was quiet, Siren Head's broken form left behind in the clearing, its menacing wail finally stilled. Springfield seemed to breathe easier, but an uneasy undercurrent lingered in the family's hearts. Marge tucked Bart into bed, her hand lingering on his forehead. "You're safe now, sweetie," she whispered, though her eyes betrayed her lingering fear. Bart nodded, but his gaze darted to the window, as if expecting those eerie sirens to return. Downstairs, Homer slumped on the couch, a beer in hand but untouched. "I thought we'd be done with monsters after that alien invasion fiasco," he muttered. "Why does Springfield attract this stuff?" Lisa, curled up with a notebook, scribbled theories about Siren Head. "It's not just Springfield, Dad. Creatures like that feed on fear, chaos. Maybe we're just unlucky." Her voice wavered, betraying her own doubts. Sleep came fitfully. For everyone. Homer jolted awake at every creak, half expecting to hear those haunting voices. In his dreams, the forest loomed, and Marge's voice called from the dark, warped and wrong. He woke sweating, the echo of sirens ringing in his ears. Morning brought news of recovery. The town held a meeting at City Hall, where Mayor Quimby promised to investigate the forest incident with utmost, whatever. Chief Wiggum reported no new disappearances, and the twisted figures, those poor souls warped by Siren Head, were being treated at Springfield General, though their recovery seemed uncertain. Lisa, restless, visited Professor Frink's lab to analyze the disruptor's wreckage. "The frequency worked," she said, poring over scorched circuits. "But what if it wasn't enough? What if Siren Head's not really gone?" Frink adjusted his glasses nervously. "A valid concern, young Simpson. Its energy signature was peculiar, almost otherworldly. We should monitor for anomalies." Meanwhile, Bart tried to reclaim normalcy, skateboarding with Milhouse, but his bravado faltered. At the Quick-E-Mart, he froze when a radio sputtered static, its crackle too close to Siren Head's voice. "You okay, dude?" Milhouse asked. Bart shrugged it off, but his hands shook. That afternoon, Marge noticed something odd while gardening, a faint hum from the backyard, like a distant machine. She followed it to a patch of dirt near the treehouse, where a small rusted piece of metal lay half buried. It looked like a fragment of Siren Head's siren, its surface pulsing with a soft, eerie glow. She gasped, dropping her trowel, and called for Homer. Homer poked the fragment with a stick. "Looks dead to me," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Lisa arrived, her eyes wide. "Don't touch it," she warned. Using tongs, she sealed it in a jar. "We need to study this. It could still be active." Back at Frink's lab, tests revealed trace energy emissions. "It's like a beacon," Frink muttered, "possibly calling to something else." Lisa's stomach sank. Had they only silenced Siren Head temporarily? That night, the family gathered, the jar glowing faintly on the table. "We beat it once," Homer said, trying to sound confident. "We can do it again." Marge nodded, but her grip on Bart's hand tightened. "We're stronger together." Lisa stared at the fragment, her mind racing. If it's a beacon, we need to find what it's signaling and stop it before it's too late. As they planned, a low hum vibrated through the house, barely audible but unmistakable. Outside, the forest seemed to stir, shadows shifting under the moon. The victory they'd claimed felt fragile, and the echoes of siren had whispered a chilling truth: the nightmare wasn't over. The Simpsons' home was a fortress of determination. The faint hum from the siren fragment, now a constant reminder of the looming threat. Lisa, hunched over her desk, pored over data from Frink's scans. The fragment's energy was growing, its pulses syncing with strange signals detected across Springfield. "It's calling something," she said, her voice tight. "We have to act fast." Homer, pacing, clutched a wrench like a weapon. "Why can't we just smash it and be done?" Marge shot him a look. "Homer, we tried that with the toaster and we still don't have toast." Bart, fidgeting, added, "What if it's waking up more monsters? I'm not fighting a whole siren army." Professor Frink burst in, his hair wilder than usual. "Eureka! Or possibly, oh no, the fragment's a conduit to Siren Head's essence. Think of it as a cosmic walkie-talkie." He held a new device, a sleek sonic pulse generator. "This beauty can disrupt its signal permanently, but we'll need to get close, dangerously close." The family exchanged glances, resolve hardening. Marge nodded. "For Springfield. For us." They set out at dusk, the fragment's glow guiding them back to the forest. The air was thick, the trees unnaturally still. Frink's device hummed, softly, its lights flickering. Lisa carried it, her hands steady despite her racing heart. As they reached the clearing where Siren Head had fallen, the ground vibrated. A low wail rose, and the creature materialized, not broken but reformed, its sirens gleaming with malevolent energy. Its body pulsed, as if drawing strength from the fragment in Lisa's jar. "It's back!" Homer yelped, stumbling backward. Siren Head's sirens erupted, blasting voices, Bart's, Marge's, even Lisa's, twisted into pleas and screams. The sound clawed at their minds, sowing panic. Ned Flanders, who'd insisted on joining, clutched his Bible, muttering prayers. Lisa shouted over the din, "We need to get the pulse generator to its core." She dodged a swipe from the creature's claw-like arm, Frink scrambling to keep up. Homer, in a surge of courage, grabbed a fallen branch. "Hey, ugly! Pick on! Someone your own size!" He swung, distracting Siren Head as it turned, its sirens zeroing in on him. Marge pulled Bart close, shielding him. "Stay with me, honey." But Bart's eyes locked on the fragment, glowing brighter. "Mom, it's powering it!" he yelled, breaking free. He snatched the jar and hurled it at Siren Head's base, shattering it. The creature roared, its form flickering as the fragment's energy destabilized. Lisa seized the moment, sprinting forward with the pulse generator. "Now, Professor!" Frink activated it and a piercing frequency tore through the air. Siren Head convulsed, its sirens cracking, emitting sparks. But it lashed out, knocking Frink aside. The device skidded toward the trees. "No!" Lisa cried, diving for it. The creature loomed over her, its claw raised. Homer tackled Lisa out of the way, taking the blow. He groaned, clutching his side, but urged her on. "Finish it, sweetie." Tears in her eyes, Lisa grabbed the device and cranked it to maximum. The frequency surged, a blinding wave of sound. Siren Head shrieked, its body fracturing like glass. With a final ear-splitting wail, it collapsed into shards of metal and ash, the forest falling silent. The group staggered to their feet, battered but alive. Marge rushed to Homer, helping him up. "You're okay," she sobbed, kissing his forehead. Homer grinned weakly. "Told you I'm tough." Bart hugged Lisa, whispering, "You're awesome." "Sis," Frink, nursing a bruise, marveled at the device's wreckage. "It worked. Science prevails." As they limped back to town, the stars shone clearer, the forest's menace gone. But Lisa glanced back, uneasy. The shards of Siren Head glittered faintly in the moonlight, a whisper of doubt in her mind. Springfield would heal, but the cost was heavy. Friends lost, scars gained. The Simpsons walked together, their bond unbreakable, ready to face whatever came next. Springfield woke to a tentative calm, the morning sun casting long shadows over streets still marked by the chaos of Siren Head's reign. The Simpsons' home, though battered, stood as a beacon of resilience. Marge bustled in the kitchen, her usual routine, a quiet rebellion against the fear that had gripped them. She hummed softly, flipping pancakes, but her eyes flicked to the window, half expecting an unnatural sound. Homer, bandaged from his heroics, lounged on the couch, a donut in hand. "Well, Marge," he said between bites, "we saved the town. Again, think they'll give us a parade this time?" Marge smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Let's just be glad we're all here, Homer." Bart skateboarded into the room, his bravado back but tempered. "No more monsters for a while, right? I'm kinda over fighting creepy siren freaks." Lisa, at the dining table, closed her notebook with a sigh. She'd spent hours documenting the ordeal, cross-referencing Siren Head's traits with cryptid lore. "I hope so, Bart," she said, "but we need to stay ready, just in case." The family gathered for breakfast, their chatter a mix of relief and reflection. Bart recounted his throw of the fragment, puffing out his chest. Homer bragged about his epic tackle, though Marge gently corrected him. "You tripped, dear." Lisa shared her theory that Siren Head's energy might have been tied to Springfield's quirks, its nuclear plant, its weird history. They laughed, but the weight of their losses lingered. Outside, Springfield rebuilt. The twisted figures, those transformed by the creature, were recovering slowly at the hospital, their humanity returning in fragments. Lenny visited the Simpsons, his eyes haunted but grateful. "I owe you guys," he said, voice rough. "I saw things in there. I'll never forget." The town held a memorial for those who didn't return, organized by Ned Flanders. At the ceremony, Mayor Quimby gave a speech, mostly stolen from a movie, as Lisa whispered to Bart, promising vigilance. Chief Wiggum stood nearby, polishing his badge, muttering about monster-proofing the precinct. Lisa and Professor Frink met later, combing through the forest's debris. The shards of Siren Head were gone, swept away by cleanup crews or something else. "No residual energy," Frink confirmed, scanning with a new gadget. "But the multiverse is a tricky place, young Simpson. We've poked it, and it might poke back." That night, the Simpsons sat on their roof, a rare moment of unity. Stars glittered above and Springfield sprawled below, scarred but standing. Marge leaned against Homer. "We've been through so much," she said, "but we're still us." Homer squeezed her hand. "Yeah, and no siren's gonna change that." Bart nudged Lisa. "You think it's really over?" Lisa gazed at the horizon, where the forest loomed dark and silent. "I want to believe it is," she said. "But if it's not, we'll face it. Together." A breeze stirred, carrying a faint, fleeting hum, barely audible, gone in an instant. The family didn't notice. Lost in their moment, they climbed down, ready for tomorrow, their scars a testament to survival. Springfield slept, its pulse steady but cautious. The stars watched, and the forest kept its secrets, whispering softly of battles won and others yet to come.